would like to call upon the stage Mr. Parthiv Tyagarajan, co-founder and CEO, WeddingSutra.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be at OTM, where we talk about more travel and less weddings, or weddings and travel. Bunch of very interesting friends here who are orchestrating some of the biggest weddings, and in between their busy schedule, they have been gracious to make the trek to BKC. First up, the friend who's always punctual, Harshal Kothari. Harshal, this time I ensured you're in the first panel. Otherwise, I said you will not come next time. Yeah. Harshal is the founder of Rising Events, and he's been doing some very big destination weddings as well as the good old hometown weddings, corporates, and much more. But here today we are talking about today he wears many hats, but today we are going to talk about Harshal, the wedding planner. Karan Surma, the founder of Morani and Surma. Very interesting background. In the wedding space, he started his career with Cineyuk, which was founded by his father and business partners. And a few years back, he and his late father's business partner's daughter, they together started. Is Noreen here? Okay. Thank you, Noreen, for joining us. So they are the face of Morani and Surba, and they'll be doing some luxury weddings at the destination wedding hotspots. And finally, Nikhil Morarka, the director of Centerpoint Events. The company has a huge legacy in the world of events, fashion, and jewelry. They have many verticals. Nikhil helms the events vertical, second generation, right? And he's been doing weddings in India and abroad. I know we just have 30 minutes, but this is a big topic which we have to cover in as short a while. So first is, Karan, who brought this up with me, very interestingly, he said, it's all about hotels and managing hospitality. But he says, from talking about all this, there's more and more pressure on wedding planners because the hotels are busy selling the rooms, the spaces, but there's more and more pressure when it comes to the planners on everything relating to curation. Am I right? Is that what you said? Because a lot of people may think in the good old days where the demand was less, where the hotels were equipped to handle everything end to end. I'm not talking 2 years back, but 20 years back. But today the entire hospitality, which was a lot of the load was on the shoulder of the hotels, is now on the planners, right, Karan?
Yes, actually I completely agree. When I was thinking about this topic, that's the first thing that came to my mind. I think hospitality is always associated with a hotel, right? The service you provide, the comfort you provide, the care that you provide to a guest. And I think a lot of hotels in the country are doing an excellent job when it comes to FITs. And they go the way,
and sometimes MICE also, because it's a little more structured.
Right. But I feel what's been happening is over the last few years with demand increasing, I think a lot of hotels are feeling the pressure, which is reflecting in the pricing, but not so much in the service.
Very good. So the pricing of the rooms is going up, but the service, the responsibility of the planners is only increasing, right? So a hotel room which was, say, 30,000 or 25,000 pre-COVID, now what would they be? About anywhere from 40 to 50 or more?
Yeah, it's easily double,
more than that.
At least.
So as the rates of the, very interesting insight from Karan here, the rates of the hotel are increasing. As the rates of the hotel increase, the pressure on the planners is even more, right?
So I'll add to this, and till about a couple of years ago, even we were under this, we didn't realize it, because what happens is in Indian weddings with Indian families, you just see it, you see 20 people in hospitality, you see 8 bartenders, you'll see all of that. Over the last couple of years, we've really been catering to the international audience, and what we've understood is when they come in with a fresh perspective, they question, they said, we're paying top dollar, but we're not getting basic services.
True.
And that got us thinking as well. There is definitely a gap because there's an expectation to be treated as a hotel guest, but all the services are being provided by third-party agencies. So I think that is a gap that still exists. There is now a growing frustration with some of the families just because of the price they're paying to get that. There is a lot of, it's led to a lot of new agencies coming up who are bridging that gap, but I think it should be a little, I mean, we should all work together to sort of bring that balance.
Very interesting perspective. When it comes to NRIs, their expectations are only becoming huge. Social media is only talking of curation, experiences. So which means the guest expectations are huge. The hosts are paying much more. And therefore, and obviously the hotels are doing a very good job of marketing the destination. And you're all there thanks to the way the hotels have made the shift. I know my friend Chris is here. 15, 20 years back, he said when he was at Taj, I don't want to talk about a unit. I want to talk about the group. Taj was the first one to make that shift before many others did that. But having said that, Harshal, does this mean that the Indian wedding is so unique, right? Because of the demands or the unique requirements of not one family, but 100 families there, right? Sometimes there are 100 families or more. Does that mean there's much more pressure, which means a couple of years back, if it was easy for you to execute 15 weddings, I know you have many verticals, so maybe you were executing 15. Does that mean that you can now execute fewer number of weddings because of the demands of the family and the fact that everything has to be customized till the nariyal pani?
See, the pressure into wedding has been always there. As we know
Yes.
that India is a country of celebration.
That's right.
We celebrate right from a birthday to a Mata Ki Chauki to a wedding to every bit of it.
Yeah.
And every event you do, the client demands are always different.
Sure.
And that's why it's been the challenge for the hotel industry also, that the client is a very simple statement, हमारी शादी अलग होनी चाहिए, कि हमारा event अलग होना
कुछ नया, कुछ नया.
कुछ नया. Now, what more curation you can keep doing it for a check-in experience or otherwise. At the same time, India is a growing market, the number of hotels are increasing, but at the same time the talent is reducing. There's always been a pressure on the hotelier as well as on us also.
Sure.
Because today if you see every year, number of social events which are increasing are 2x. Like there was a time where there should be one celebration in my client's family once in a year. In last 6 months, we have done 6 events for them.
Wow.
So there's right from a book launch to an anniversary to a baby celebration to a birthday to a wedding.
To even an Onam lunch.
So Onam lunch, I mean, they look at the opportunity for celebration and then do it.
Because the Indian, the HNI really understands the return on experience.
Return after the COVID, I mean, that is increased 2x or 3x. I mean, I think everybody, that has happened with the corporates also.
Sure.
Now, corporates is also asking for experiences. I mean, there's a time where corporates wanted a basic lunch or dinner, but now they also want experiences. So we are selling the wedding stuff to them. I was just talking to Alok a while back. Like, my corporate client wants an experience. So he's a social client of mine.
And it helps that you're a wedding planner.
It helps as a wedding planner. We are selling the
Your
wedding
whole
stuff.
gifting piece is taken
We
care
are
of.
selling the wedding ideas to the corporate guys and they're getting excited with that. So yes, challenge for us increases. But what all the wedding planners have done that, we have started equipping ourselves also with that.
Sure.
There is a time like some of the hotels in Jaipur and Udaipur, we are paying as well as 1,25,000 for a night. But still hotel is not able to give it. We are adding food curators into that thing. We are adding extra manpower for the hospitality. We are adding extra food counters. So if you see most of the hotels, 80% of the hotels have started permitting outside food. The reason they are permitting that thing because they also know that they are not able to cope up with the pressure. But at the same time, it's adding to the experiences. I'm not saying that hotel is not capable of that thing, but yes,
But they are smart. They are selling the rooms and the spaces.
they are selling. I mean, they are getting the money, what they are asking for. After that, whatever you want to put in, you put in. You simply give the experience to the client, make client happy, and that's it. And as we know that the talent is a challenge in India, though we are charging a X amount of premium price, but sorry, I'm saying that thing on the forum, but hotel are not able to give that experience when it's a bigger gathering of 600 and upwards. Up to 300, 400, they are able to take care of it, but over and above has been a challenge.
So
and that we
bigger
all
and the
that.
challenges, I'll come to Nikhil, but this is very interesting. I was having a chat with a planner from Calcutta on my last podcast, and he said, Parthip, I've just come back from Grand Hyatt Goa, and he said, this is the wedding where there were 30 shadows. He says, up till now, I've only had 5 to 8 shadows. He says, every chacha, every mama, close friend of the bride and groom wants a shadow today. So that is because it's understood that the hotel will take care of the turn down service and, the laundry. But even to call the laundry, they need the shadow services to give the reminder. That is the level of service which is there in the Indian wedding, and it's such a difference from when you travel abroad. When I traveled to Australia, I remember a couple of years back, the in-house wedding planner who's associated with one hotel is doing 800 weddings a year. And I was just thinking, the time, the effort required for 800 weddings is equivalent to what it is for 1 to 8 weddings in India. But Nikhil, as the numbers grow, you know this very well, it also means that is there still a shortage of hotels for big weddings in India today, even though we know of so many hotels opening, but there is a big shortage when it comes to, what in your definition is a big wedding? A destination wedding?
Me, if you ask me, Parthiv, personally, I feel there are hotels already like Fairmont Bombay, Fairmont Udaipur, you get Taj Horizon Goa,
Grand Hyatt
Grand Hyatt Goa, where you always get 300 rooms, and you can always do a 600 or 650 guest wedding for 2 nights. It's
and you have
more
many
than
clients who are
sufficient.
doing the 600 to
Absolutely.
650.
I just confirmed a wedding for next year with 300 rooms only at Goa.
Wow.
So I think, of course, there are limited hotels, including JW Golshare also now.
Yes.
It has 300 rooms. But in next 5 years, I think more and more properties will come up. I think Fairmont is coming, if I'm not wrong, in Goa also now.
Agra also.
There are a couple
Our
of
friends
hotels
from Accra
coming.
here, I don't know, okay.
So I think if you have 300 rooms, it's more than sufficient for a hotel.
I don't think 300 will become 350 rooms next year, right?
But demand is always there. 400 rooms demand also keeps coming in.
Yeah.
And all these luxury properties, Parthiv, have multiple venues now. They have multiple lawns, they have multiple halls, small halls, big halls. So you can always do different events at different venues. So that is a plus point in all these luxury hotels.
Sure.
And of course, the proximity from the airport and all these are the plus added points.
Sure. Is there any location where you see in India the potential for, there's a need for more big properties for big weddings?
I think Dehradun, because Dehradun we only have Hyatt
Our
Regency
friend is
of
here from
Animation.
Animation is
just
here from
mentioned
Hyatt
3
Regency.
properties are coming.
And
He's
of course,
actually, he has created a monopoly there, saying that we do not have, because even JW Mussoorie, I think, has less number of rooms. So if we have more hotels there, we will get good options.
and perhaps Bangalore also, all your
The
good weddings.
south is,
Yeah.
we don't
because
have any
Dehradun has a plus point of the weather, because in April, May and June, you can easily get married there instead of properties like
And when you
Rajasthan
don't
and
have Goa, Rajasthan, you can only look at Dehradun or Bangalore.
Yeah, I think.
Currently, most of the properties are Goa and Rajasthan, and only 1 or 2 one in Hyatt Bulgati is there, or otherwise the property.
For
need
that
is
matter, in fact,
a lot.
Kochi also, there's only Grand Hyatt Kochi who has again done the monopoly there.
Hyatt has somehow got they've woken up late, but yes, they're doing a good
They're
job.
doing
Hyatt,
really,
Leela,
really
and
nice.
now we have Hilton also in Hyderabad. They're all everyone wants a slice of the big wedding pie. But I'm surprised none of you have talked about near Bombay.
Near Bombay actually have only Della, to be honest, Parthiv, who has had, I think,
Karjat.
272 rooms, and Karjat Radisson. Otherwise, though, every property has more or less 150 to 175 rooms maximum what you can take.
Okay.
Only Della has 270 rooms. That too, you can't do wedding at that property in the months of June and July and August because of the rains.
Sure.
The challenge with Maharashtra is that it's never focused from the wedding perspective. Very few properties are there. At the same time, banqueting space has become even in Della, you don't have a great banqueting space.
You have multiple lawns
only
there.
Ambi Valley was the only property which was equipped well, but we know what is the current condition of Ambi Valley. At the same time, one more challenge which happens in Maharashtra, everywhere you have a monopolistic situation. Like, now day by day it's increasing that आपको sound light भी इससे लेना. Initially it was with the decor. So people are looking at Goa and Rajasthan and even the other part of the country.
Also, the big challenge, I think, from the hotelier's point of view, when it's a big wedding, they have to invest significantly in the banquet, right? That also explains why. And if you're getting 700 guests, you're looking for at least one wow banquet event, right?
Absolutely.
So, which is why we have many hotels who are opening properties for intimate weddings. Am I right? Like a Hilton. I don't know whether you were with me in Hyderabad, but Hilton has opened
I
a
was not.
100 packs, 100 room property near Hyderabad. I think. And then again, there's a big challenge, right? You could have beautiful lawns, but then in Maharashtra, almost 4 to 5 months, they're not usable, right? That's the whole thing. So these are all the challenges. While there's a big and a bigger market for big weddings, thanks to your clientele, there will always be a demand-supply gap, and therefore, now you have more demand for going abroad, right? So internationally, I'd like to ask each of you, which are the hotels which your clients are looking for when it comes to a big wedding? When I say big wedding, I go by your definition, which is 300 rooms. Yeah, okay, maybe
So
we
I
can
think
start with Nikhil.
for me, I think Sofitel Bahrain is a very good option because
Okay.
it has around about 270 rooms. The banquet space is big. The open areas is big. They have an island where you can do your fairas, and they are very very flexible in terms of food menus, bringing alcohol from outside on corkage basis from duty free. Your Bahrain tourism supports you in and out
Sure.
of that. And of course, if you have a good budget, then Emirates Palace Abu Dhabi is a very very good option.
Sure.
Qasr Al Sarab is a very good option because if you want more rooms, then you can easily get at these properties.
Great. So Nikhil has spoken about Sofitel Bahrain, Emirates Palace Abu Dhabi,
Qasr Al Sarab.
and Qasr Al Sarab in
Abu
Abu
Dhabi.
Dhabi.
Yeah.
Karan.
So I think in what we're getting a lot of feedback on is, I think Bali is something that people are now being more interested in than earlier. So we're seeing a lot of interest there. Talking about Bahrain, I was there yesterday at the Jumeirah.
Okay.
So I think again a lot of similar facilities that they're providing, in terms of flexibility for alcohol, even for food. Like we spoke to the chef, he said, you know what, let's cancel the menu for one event and do 10 live stations. Things like that get very exciting just in terms of a curation point of view because it's different experiences.
Sure.
There's a lot of interest this year for Europe, but not again the big weddings in Europe. I think it's still more the
So more of big pre or
100
post weddings, right? Yeah.
No, I mean again for international clients, 100 rooms,
True.
150 rooms. So I think Italy, I think Spain is an option that we haven't really looked at collectively.
But that is where Middle East has a big advantage thanks to the distance factor.
Correct.
Also in terms of food, Middle
Yes.
East,
Yeah.
you actually
And
get
language.
proper Indian food. Yeah.
And language, of course.
Yeah, I think whatever you might, even if there's certain savings going off season anywhere beyond India and the Middle East, I think that's always compensated by the additional cost of catering. So in that sense, you're absolutely right. So where Middle East, India, Bali, to an extent Thailand will all give you that.
Great. So
exercise.
Karan has spoken about Bali, where there are multiple properties. And of course, Jumeirah Bahrain, because of their newness, there's a certain more curation. Sofitel comes with the experience and Jumeirah has the newness. Harshal.
I mean, if you ask me why the Middle East is working well, one is the flight distance. Second is a lot of food companies have set up their base over there.
Yes.
I mean, like, we know Foodlink, Trupti, and many of them already has based in.
Yes.
As I mentioned, Sofitel is a hot selling thing right now for most of the Indian weddings. As we said, I mean, we spoke 2 days back also, Malaysia has been a good destination, and I would recommend that thing because we have done it because of the good flight timings.
And how many rooms did you take water villas at this property?
We took around, in totality, 350 rooms we had taken it in total. The good part is the
Lexus,
pricing. Lexus has discussed.
Yeah.
So the good part about Malaysia is the flight timing is fantastic. You take the flight at 11:30 in the night over here. You reach by 7 a.m. As per the Malaysian time, you go into the hotel, check in by 9 o'clock, and the rooms are ready. You get full 3 days of the wedding. The food you need to manage with one more catering company, but the hotel is also quite flexible in Malaysia because they have been doing MICE over the years, but now they want to focus on the Indian wedding and it works quite well. Jumeirah is beautiful property in Bahrain along with Sofitel, so that's both as an alternative. Abu Dhabi tourism is quite active. They have been really pushing hard.
And
for
they're
the
doing a good job with
incentives.
the incentive scheme, which works fabulously well if you're looking
incentive
at
scheme, Abu Dhabi is also doing good. I mean, Bahrain support is fantastic. Malaysia, we don't have any, any benefits from, but yes, we have a visa free and support from the tourism board is fantastic. It's quite smooth. And all the 3 locations, I mean, as we just mentioned that, we have good amount of Indian vendors over there. So the communication becomes simpler. They understand the Indian wedding. So that way we have good amount of options. And more the pricing when you compare with India. Few places are much cheaper in terms of the hotel. Logistics is expensive, but hotels are much cheaper. The water villas, if you ask me, we got it for around 15 to 18 INR. So which is, a steep
Wow, this is
price.
with breakfast.
Yeah, with breakfast. I'm talking about the
15
CP
to
plan.
18,000 INR, beautiful water
Beautiful
villas.
water villas with-
Nikhil.
In fact, international hotels are almost 30 to 40% cheaper
Cheaper.
if you compare with luxury properties in India, especially in Udaipur, like a lakh rupees room, 1,25,000
A lakh or
rupees.
125, I mean,
Exactly.
today.
You
the
get
demand
easily
is-
50,000-60,000 AP plus tax or API at international.
So even when we compared the pricing for the wedding what we did in Malaysia and when we compared to India, It was hardly 10% difference, rather even not that, I would say.
And flight tickets, guests are booking on their own nowadays. Gone are the days where
Even,
you have to
I mean,
book
the
the
flight
entire
ticket
flight.
pricing, its averages around 40 to 45,000 rupees.
Because you
for
are
the
anyway
return
booking
time.
at least 50 to 100 flight tickets for the crew and the family in any case.
Yes.
Great.
So that compensates the GST what we charge.
Also, what happens is when you do it internationally, you're very often doing 3 nights, right? Whereas even if you calculate it 3 nights, you're saying the cost is more or less the same.
It might even be cheaper for 3 nights versus
Wow.
2 nights.
Only GCC countries might be a little bit expensive. Otherwise, I think 3 nights for
So
the
if you look at,
locations
if
is-
it's a 3-night celebration in a Vietnam, Thailand, Sri Lanka, would be even lesser than a 2-night celebration in Udaipur is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Very interesting.
If we compare
comparing with the larger property. So when you have a
luxury, ultra luxury
300 room property, then 100% India is expensive. But if you're looking at 150 or 200, then you can have a little bit of competitiveness over there.
So very interesting. What you're saying is if you're looking at the big wedding, international offers you, is offering you a price advantage. Whereas if you look at the 100 or 150 room property, the cost more or less becomes equal, whether you're doing it maybe even a Bahrain or a Jaipur.
A client is recently booked for the next year. He got Bahrain, so it's around 1.8 to 2 is the average range. So when you compare that thing with the Indian hotels, I mean, it's quite higher comparatively.
Okay.
So like, the difference is quite high. I mean, when it comes to the hotel, of course, logistics are a little expensive compared to India. India is a cheaper market when it comes to the event logistics.
Got it. So is there anything internationally which is, when let's keep the rooms and the F&B aside, in some countries where there's a, there's a price advantage, where maybe in some place where the florals or maybe talent is less or as expensive as in India? Is there any such thing, location advantage?
So normally most of the weddings, what everybody do, we do a combination of the local flavors along with the Indian flavor because
Sure.
we want a little bit of jazz.
Our next panel discussion is on local flavors, incidentally. Yeah.
So like, client wants a combination of the local flavor and for example, dancers, a choreography company is cheaper in India compared to taking it internationally.
Sure.
The comfort is there. You utilize for them for 3 to 4 events. So
Sure.
if you ask us, yes, there's always a cost difference in every bit of it. But it depends on what you're planning to select from the lot, what you want to take it from India. Some things are cheaper by taking from India. Like when we did a wedding in Turkey. So international artists, we took 8 of them from India for the ambience entertainment. So that's how we have been doing the comparison, mix and match from Indian flavors and from there.
Got it. Talking of the guest list, can you just, okay. Talking of the guest list, what are really the challenges when you have a long guest list today? Whether it's, is there some way in which technology is now coming in the play in terms of managing communication with them? Karan?
I think with guest list, that's taking a bit of time. I think there's a gap there too, where obviously the communication with RSVP. What we're seeing is that a lot of families start planning earlier now. So what was 6 months has now become 12 months as a lead time from the time they start planning. So they want to start the guest list process a lot, sort of further, earlier on in the process. So, to get technology activated there for communication would be an advantage. I know there's a few people providing solutions, but I don't think it's there yet. So that's a big gap that we're seeing, and we're hoping that can be filled. In terms of, so I think just RSCP timelines, communication timelines have just lengthened is what we're seeing.
Okay. Great.
And one more thing, just in terms of delivery of the wedding, I think what happens and what we've seen is that, and because, intimate settings is something that was in the topic, I think with a larger guest list, what we're seeing is you sort of have to give up a little more mass solution.
Okay.
Where you're catering to a common palate.
You can't have that many live counters, obviously.
Not only food, it's just a common palette for food, so it's not as experiential, maybe it's a common palette for entertainment, so you can't sort of go very heavily into one genre. For smaller guest lists, we've got DJs flown internationally and things like that, which works for a certain kind of audience. But when you've got larger numbers, it's a little more standard as an offering that we've seen. You can't sort of get more personalized or more sort of detailed where you're showcasing the couple's personality more.
Got it.
More about
So yeah, that's something which we'll take up in the next panel. Nikhil, when it comes to your clients, which are the busiest months for you? Is it still November to February?
It's always November, December, Jan, Feb.
Sure.
And I think this season it's also June and July.
Okay.
Because there are many Muhurats in the month of June, July. But every year, these 5 months are the most auspicious.
And
from
auspicious
November to
dates
March.
are still very important for your clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
And does it
Even
also...
even Sindhis are following auspicious date. I've confirmed a wedding at Taj Horizon, Goa. So they were very clear that I only want 4th and 5th of July because that is the Muhurat date.
So it
I
could
was
be a
actually
numerology
surprised.
factor also, you never know.
And they were not having non-veg, they will not keep alcohol. That was another surprising thing for us.
Very interesting. Go ahead.
I've actually seen a bit of a shift in this. I think there's a lot more clients who we speak to for whom dates are not as important. So there's a lot of October and March shoulder season.
Which is good for you.
inquiries, Which is great.
I mean, I agree with them. Like, now people don't look at. There was a time from December 15 to Jan 15. Used to call it a Kamurta time, and can't do any wedding. And if you see most of the weddings that happens from that time only, most of the time. So I don't know. I mean, everywhere the Muhurats are different.
As they say, there is nothing called an Indian wedding. You have a Sindhi client who wants, fortunately I'm sure he has alcohol, right? Because they are going to have the best billings when it comes to alcohol. There are some clients for whom auspicious dates are all important, and for some it's all about being practical. Right?
So we actually did one wedding at the Fairmont Udaipur for New Year's. So it was a sort of a 3-day celebration going into New Year's Eve. So it was sort of double. So I mean, that's also something that people are combining holidays, special events and their celebration.
Having a wedding on New Year's Eve was unheard of, right? Everybody went back to their hometown for 31st. I think it's about a music festival-like experience sometimes, combining it with a Holi, right? I don't know much of Diwali because
I've done on a Holi at Fairmont
the
Jaipur, last to
Fuloko.
last.
Or then you take a bit of that Fuloko Holi with 1 week before. It's all about combining our traditions, and of course the next session will be about the storytelling bit. But bringing in those traditional elements in everything from decor to food to the guest experiences. We have exactly 5 minutes for some Q&A, and would love to hear some questions from our friends. Does someone have a mic? Maybe Naomi, if you can just help. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Can someone please give them? Yeah, you can give one mic here.
Hello. Hi to everyone. Myself Rajiv from Vietnam. We are Vietnam-based DMC company and also...
And Vietnam is rocking it with weddings
Yeah, that's
now.
what I hear the gentleman talking about, the overseas destination weddings, about Bahrain and Malaysia. And Malaysia, he said, very seamless weddings, and the price, the cost. I was talking recently, many Indian rich weddings been taken in Vietnam. Last December, I have 2 weddings. One NRIs, Indians from Dubai.
And where was it in Vietnam, sir?
That was in Phu Quoc.
Okay,
This
Phu Quoc.
gentleman is also from Phu Quoc.
Nice.
The Phu Quoc and Vietnam has big properties, like we were talking about the wedding of 400 or 500 people up, like 250, 300 people. JW Marriott in Phu Quoc is also too. I just met a manager from JW Marriott before coming here. So she was telling me Indian wedding take the whole buyout property.
Yes.
About 350 people.
Pre-COVID, 2 years before COVID, there was a wedding which happened, which was done by Horizon.
Yeah.
And that really went viral because of the fact that how beautifully.
Yes.
And my next podcast also features an interview with a planner. He talked about, in fact, you'll hear about it, the experience, the service, the training ingredient which makes the property.
Exactly.
So
here, I'm here actually to coming to attend this WeddingSutra. Especially I came from Vietnam. I landed just yesterday.
Thank you so much.
So I wanted to get connected with the local Indian wedding planners who are doing very luxury weddings and big weddings and looking for good destinations. Of course, like, that's, he was talking about the bridge between the customers' expectations nowadays. That they are customized and expectations are too high. And in Vietnam, like, you see, the Vietnam is good, but still the cultural barrier and the communication
I'd like to
barrier
ask a question, and any of you can answer this. What is working for Vietnam, and how can it do better? Both ways. Would any of you like to answer what is working? Because in the last 3 years, we've been hearing about Vietnam. We didn't hear about Vietnam at all. I know they did some very interesting weddings.
Recently in December, one wedding was there. If you've seen, it went viral. 1,100 people wedding.
Wow.
And 1,200 staff doing hospitality. This only Winpearl can do because Winpearl had a big echo place there.
Yes.
It was like a fairy tale wedding.
Great.
Dream
So
wedding.
would any of you like to say what has
I have
worked?
no idea. I have no
You go through that YouTube
So
and
honestly,
see.
I've been to Vietnam for a holiday, but if you ask me, it's a better version of. I mean, it's much better than going to Thailand. I mean, if you
Yes.
where people compare Vietnam with Thailand, but yes, it has beautiful locations.
Yes.
The property are good. Little language barrier.
That's
is
what I
there.
that's
language
what, that's
barrier
what
is
I was
a
pointing out.
Language
See, I've been living in
barrier
abroad for
is
sorry,
there.
sorry, yeah, continue.
At the same time, I'm again comparing with Sri Lanka and Thailand when it comes to Vietnam because it's the same distance. Price points are quite similar. And the food is something what has to be really worked on hard when it comes to Vietnam. Location wise, they have plenty of property and some beautiful. Lot of people are going for the pre-wedding shoots over there. That's something which has
Yes.
been done a lot. Like in the last 2 weddings we did, both of them were exploring. One did shoot at Vietnam, and that way it's working quite
I'll
good.
sum it up.
I will
so
say
that
here
you
2
can-
minutes just, yeah.
No, I think we have to take
Okay,
another
I'll
question.
finish
We
in
can
one,
take it. Okay, go
1
ahead.
minute or one and a
Yeah.
half minute. Harshal, I agree with you exactly. What you said is a communication gap because see, I am with the background 35, 40 years been living in China and Vietnam. Those are communist countries. So still, those are not openly like Malaysia and other countries. So that's why I'm here as a DMC local in Vietnam to coordinate with those wedding planners who are planning to have wedding destinations in Vietnam. So as you said, there are locations are good, but you might feel little problem with the cultural things, communication gap. So we want to be bridge for that communication.
Sure, sir. We have exactly 2 minutes
Yeah,
left. We,
thank you,
We,
thank
we
you.
need time.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank
please
you
go
for
ahead.
all,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyone else? Yeah, Sudha, please go ahead. Can you just okay, go ahead, and then after that, Sudha. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Sudha. Okay, so myself Rashmi, and I'm just stretching this conversation. Vietnam is a beautiful destination, but the flight is the barrier because there are hardly any direct flight to Da Nang, Phuoc. So if you go with the if you going for the events, you don't want to spend your 15, 17 hours in a flight, right?
Sure.
So and it's expensive also. The flights are becoming
Okay.
very expensive for Vietnam. Only Vietjet Air and very bad service. Yeah.
Okay, I think we have to move over from Vietnam now to the Middle East. Yeah, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sudhakar. I head the commercial for Imar Hospitality, along with my colleague Fatima. We are here. A question for any of the panelists. We've got a resort in Fujairah called the Address Beach Resort Fujairah. We haven't been able to convert, as much as we would want to. But we recently see the trend where the families want to decide on the hotel, not the planner. So do you see that in your?
Well, it's a it's a tricky question, but yeah, anyone can answer. Are the families playing more of a role? Because obviously the families are much more well informed today, right? They put up a query on a they are. But well, I must say, okay, I think I'll answer this question if you don't mind. I think today, whether it is the Tads, the Leelas of the world, they are not making it transactional with the wedding planners that get us business. That's a very short term or transactional. They look at the fact that for every one wedding which Harshal is doing, he is informing 10 other families about locations. Am I right? That family already has event manager they have worked with for the corporate thing. He is a friend. Similarly with Karan, he could have his, I know his, probably he has a very large circle, his family knows a lot of people. They may not want to work with him as a wedding planner, but they're definitely reaching out to him for feedback on venues. So the companies which are doing very well, the hotel chains, they are all treating the planners as influencers and not saying, and that is the short-term route. Mr. Mararka, we have these dates for this, do you have any bookings? No, that's not the way it should be looked at. Go ahead, Karan. Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. I think what happens with our role with families is that we really try to understand what their need is and then find them that solution. And I think that's the approach we take. Having said that in mind, I mean, a lot of people do come to us saying we want something different and everyone's needs are different. So someone wants minimal, someone wants opulent. So once we are, like for example, I didn't know that you had a property for just, I mean, that's sort of my ignorance. But if there is obviously a stronger sense of communication, we are also able to then educate and inform and, like you said, influence, because it just makes sense for them more than anything else.
Great. I think Sudhagar will insist that you have to visit his property in the next 2 months. Great. Sudhagar, please talk to Indigo. You have direct flights now, and make sure as soon as the season is over, the first flight he takes to Fujairah.
Organize a fam there.
Well, the family is planning, but you have to be available to travel.
That arrange for a family.
But you have to be available to travel. No, we know after the thing. Okay, one last question, and we move on. Yes, Animesh. If you can just pass on the mic to Animesh.
My God, what question will he ask us?
Pricing. He's going to ask you about pricing. He'll say Hyatt is not
I
overpriced.
mentioned your property twice, so you have to be very thoughtful of asking us a question.
So I'm lucky enough to know that Karan's actually planned my cousin's wedding.
Okay.
And Nikhil planned my uncle's 50th birthday.
Lovely.
The best part about this is that there was another planner on board first. He did half the planning, and then Karan came on board and changed completely, and the other planner was out.
Okay. I don't know what he's saying, what he's trying to say.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what
So the one question as feedback which I would like to add from Harshal actually, which he said in this conversation is, the pricing is increasing, but the services aren't the same. Okay, while I understand and there is
I
demand
said
and supply.
for
game.
bigger wedding, bigger wedding, that
So-
has been a challenge. It's demand and supply.
No,
yeah.
but for us, typically, Hyatt works in that space where we have the maximum inventory for a 225 room plus in India. So when it comes to a 225 rooms plus, maybe with Jaipur, with Dehradun, with Kochi and Goa, we own that piece of big weddings. Where do you think can we improve more from the services point of view? Because I'm taking this very as a good feedback for us, where we can improve and make it much better for the planners and the end clients more.
See, first, very important thing is you need to respect the event planners, event managers and wedding planners. That's where the biggest gap is between an event manager and a hotelier. Most of the times we are being respected only when we give business. Point number 2, we are being put into a fix. I just don't want to name a property in Lonavala right now. My event is going on.
It is not Hyatt. It's not Hyatt.
It's not Hyatt. That's why I'm not naming any of the property. They were not able to finish their infra of construction, and we have to take the brunt of that thing. So that's one area that we have to work as a team. If there's a challenge, we are there to sort it off. At the same time, if you want to create an experience, I respect, Grand Hyatt, we have been doing a lot of work with them in Mumbai also, not at the other properties. Whenever the new curation is required, it has to be done together and everybody needs to be involved. There's internally only there is so much of conflict between your department to department that the experience eventually we have to outsource it and bring it. If you see, most of the event planners have started taking food curators for a bigger wedding. They are planning to bring in more food from outside rather than focusing or banking on your F&B services. Why this is happening? Because you are open with it, but your hotels are not. Like today, we work very closely with Marriott. Some of the Marriott property are our favorites because we know that we have a full open hand to work with them, but some of them are not. So we are focusing only on those hotels. So if we all have to come back together for a bigger wedding, for the experiences, the mindset has to be on that line that, we need to create that thing, then only it can happen off.
Great.
It's not that we are saying that, your services are bad, but we need to upscale with time. Like, the way he just mentioned that, for the FITs, the experience has been always good with all the hotels. But when it comes
and let's
to
face it, hotels have the decades of experience at FIT.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, but we have to wrap up.
Have to wrap.
Done? Yeah. So can we, the next session, we have another session because we have... Yeah, okay, 1 minute, exactly 1 minute, yeah.
So, just putting my point into this, I think what happens is there's a herd mentality, whether it's an airline, whether it's a hotel. You are giving 4 counters for reservation to the FITs, and you put the entire wedding group onto 1 counter. And you use the hospitality desk, which again is paid for by the client and the wedding planner. That should not be required. It's your job to check in the guest. It's not the hospitality team. Because you are not doing your job, the hospitality team has to come in. That's the greatest feedback, because I do weddings mostly of 200 rooms plus, and that is the biggest problem we face. It's an accepted that उस वेडिंग प्लानर ने आके तो किया था, वो क्लाइंट तो मान गया था, क्योंकि आप नहीं दे रहे थे इसके लिए वो मान गया, वो अपने गेस्ट का एक्सपीरियंस खराब नहीं करना चाहता, ठीक है? So this is one feedback I would like to share, I think for the entire panel who is here and the entire wedding industry.
I think, thank you, you summed it up very well, and we've gone for so many destination weddings, we have taken it for granted that any other time it's the hotel managing the check-in, but when it's weddings, The pressure is on the wedding planner. Many pressures. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being so.
Thank you so much.
So for being so candid. But I must confess, Harshal did not want to say this. I kind of forced him to say it. But let's step forward for a photo op. Should we step down?